Hi everyone. Well, got a treat for you today and something a little bit different. It's my absolute joy and pleasure to introduce Sarita Sol to you. Some of you may remember that Sarita actually interviewed me a couple of years ago. We had a wonderful conversation. And just to remind you, Sarita is a shamanic practitioner trained in ancient practices rooted in healing and seership. Love that word, seership. Her calling is to enlighten others that true happiness, healing, and empowerment come from sovereign and authentic connection to self, the earth, and source consciousness, things I'm always talking about and particularly relevant for right now, which I'll go on to explain in a moment. She teaches embodied and quantum meditation practices that facilitate living from the heart and are inspired by the ever-emerging science of quantum physics, psychoenergetics, and epigenetics. She also runs sacred ceremonies for men and women online and in person at her retreat center in France for those wishing to explore their true nature of the universe and experience their own healing and spiritual awakenings. So really going to enjoy this conversation with you, Sarita. And just before Sarita speaks, I just want to highlight why this is so relevant for now. I mean, Sarita unknowingly, in what I've just shared with you, was absolutely, we shouldn't be surprised, spot on for the astrology, because we're recording this on the 3rd of July. We're just about to go into a new moon in Cancer on the 5th. And this new moon, firstly, is opposing Ceres, which is now classified as a dwarf planet. And that opposition is within 3 minutes of exactitude. So it's really highlighting Ceres. Ceres is linked to our grains, our harvest, but also, as Sarita has written, I've just explained, is very connected to the natural rhythms of the earth, the organic cycles, getting back in touch with the earth from which we've been so disconnected in our modern lives. So it's very highlighted at this new moon, and both Ceres and the sign of Cancer are very connected to nurturing, looking after self, nurturing self. Also, this new moon is exactly by degree conjunct our spiritual sun Sirius. And with Sirius, when we get this alignment of our sun, and here sun and moon connected to our spiritual sun, we can more easily, it's almost like a portal, we can more easily receive high-level information, but it's also, Sirius is very connected to freedom, authenticity, sovereignty, really connecting to your unique essence, which again is what I've just talked about with Sarita's expertise. So wow, so welcome Sarita. I'm really looking forward to this and all you have to share with us today.
Thank you so much, Pam, and it's just an honor to be with you again, and I'm very excited to share what's coming up.
Well, I think you were prompted by you saw that wonderful conversation I had with Hope Fitzgerald about the infinity wave. And by the way, everybody, if you haven't been using the infinity wave, it's quite miraculous. Since the conversation with Hope, I've been using it. And it's kind of instant. You know, if you're stuck in traffic or there's a queue in a shop or a challenging situation with somebody, you know, it seems if you just do the infinity wave, it seems to be absolutely instantaneous, that it kind of unblocks things. It just releases that flow. So Sarita, being inspired by that, is going to take us on another step, excusing the pun, another step into what that infinity wave is all about. So Sarita, would you like to explain this? I think this is the shamanic walking the 8, as you call it.
Exactly. So I saw your interview with Hope, and it was actually wonderful to watch that, because I've been working with what she calls the infinity wave, but which I call the lemniscate, or the 8, basically. And it's extraordinary. It feels like loads of people around the world have been receiving information about this symbol. And when I saw that video, I really wanted to share with you and your viewers 2 very simple but unbelievably profound practices that I've been teaching people for, I don't know, about 7 years now. And I've really witnessed maybe thousands of people now having profound experiences. And the thing with these practices is that you don't need to have ever done any kind of spiritual work before, or, you know, been a meditator or done any of this kind of stuff to integrate the infinity into your daily life. And what I found with people is this method's so simple, you know, all these methods are, you can do them for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you want to do. And when you use this as a practical tool in your daily life, what happens is you bring, if you like, the sacred into your body. And I think there's been a big misconception in the spiritual world that we're ascending kind of out of our bodies. And for me, it's always been that ascension is going to be through the body, because we're human. We're both earthlings and cosmic beings. And what you've just said about sovereignty and finding your connection to earth, I think many of us have lost our connection to earth. And what we've really done is we've lost our connection to ourselves, because we are earth. It's like we're little cells on the body of earth. And if we don't incorporate that into our living reality, we find that life gets very difficult. And for many of us, especially considering what's been going on, we're often very heady, analytical, in fear-based, egoic states that actually really don't serve us and keep us making choices which aren't in alignment for our highest good. So these two practices that I wanted to share with you, because I think that we need practical tools to get us there that we can use in our physical bodies. That's what I wanted to share with you. And the thing with these tools is they're free. Yeah. They don't cost anything. You know, they don't take much time, and you can use them in many, many different ways. So that's what happened when I saw Hope, because I saw it and I just wondered if you'd never done any spiritual work, if you would know how to work with infinity. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show very practically how you can do these two methods, and then you can go away and try them and see what happens, which will be instantaneous and miraculous. I promise you they will be. So as you know, Pam, but maybe some of your viewers haven't actually tried something because they don't know quite how to. So that's what I really wanted to offer your listeners today.
Wonderful, wonderful. And would you like to talk a little bit, Sarita, about the experiences that people have had with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I wanted to say first is, just for people who might be really new to something like the infinity wave. So the infinity wave is a figure of 8.
Yeah.
Okay, just in case somebody didn't see the video with Hope. And it's basically a symbol. And I think often people think, oh, I don't want to work with a symbol. But people forget that we're actually made of geometry.
Yeah.
We're made of platonic solids. Everything in our reality follows the flower of life patterning. So that's all creation follows the flower of life. So symbols are very important. All of those platonic solids join together, and that's what makes the matter of who we are and our reality. So when you work with a symbol in a conscious way, it can literally inform the matter of your being. And all matter is basically, and I'm sure your followers know this by now, it's light, frequency, and information that has been called forth from, if you like, source consciousness or the quantum field or higher dimensions. And we call it forth through our desires, because we're created consciousness in expression. So we call it forth. And as it comes from light and information, it gets denser and denser, and it crystallizes into matter. Yeah. So when you work with a figure of 8, and just think about the symbol, you're working with a symbol which is basically aligned to perfect geometry. And if you've seen the work of Dr. Emoto, and obviously you've been talking to Vida Austin, we know that our thoughts and our intentions affect water. We're made of water. We're completely water. We're not 99% water or 70% of what people say. We're just water. And and much of us is crystallized water.
Yeah.
So when we use symbols and intention together, it literally changes the infrastructure of our body. So that infinity symbol, which is perfect balance, it's 2 loops of perfect balance with a dot in the middle, which I would call, and this alludes to what you said at the beginning, a 0-point portal. It's a portal. What happens is when you consciously bring that into your body, you bring instantaneous healing and revelation, higher consciousness, revelation, or gnosis or wisdom into your body. That's why it's important to be able to work with these symbols. They're not just like an arbitrary 8 or something. You know, they really do affect your life. They profoundly affected mine, that's for sure. So I wanted to say that first. You know, these symbols are important, and we need to bring the sacred into our physical bodies so that we can bring source consciousness, that awareness, that expanded awareness into our lives on a day-to-day basis. And Hope said, which is very relevant, that that symbol is actually representative of Christ consciousness. It's the masculine and the feminine in absolute balance. So it's the integration of the 2 parts of us, or if you like, the 2 strands of DNA, which when you look at them are just 8s in a row, aren't they? 2 strands of DNA. And when you bring both aspects of yourself or polarity into yourself and you receive it into yourself, what happens is you create unity consciousness or Christ consciousness within you. So Christ consciousness is just another word for wholeness or unity consciousness. And all disease is separation, and all wholeness is healing. It's really that simple. So I wanted to just say that first. Why is it so important, you know, that we work with this amazing symbol? So the 2 practices that I wanted to share with you are what I call walking the 8, which is an embodied walk of infinity, and Tibetan heart meditation. So for the moment, and both of these practices can be, you know, as I said, 3 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever you want. They're really simple to do. But what I wanted to share with you is the walking the 8 first. So in a moment, I will give you a demo on how to do that, because there's a certain energetic architecture that you need to tap into before you begin. But essentially, what walking the 8 is that you get 2 rocks or shells or crystals or something, you put them on the floor about 1 meter apart, and holding an intention and remembering to breathe, you walk physically around both of the rocks in a figure of 8. Literally, you're just walking your body in a figure of 8. Now, what that does is it immediately takes you out of your ego. It drops you into infinite potential and a higher level of consciousness. It's like your ego and all your worries kind of can't cope with walking in infinity, and they just disappear. So what happens is you come completely into the present moment, because think about the 8, it's presence. There's no past, there's no future. You're just perpetually in motion. And also health is motion. That everything in this reality is vibration and motion. We are both the wave and the particle simultaneously. So when your body's physically walking the 8, what happens is you move out of fight, flight, fear-based programming, and you drop into the body and into the heart, and you immediately align to source consciousness. So what happens is you could use this process. So you could walk for 3 minutes, let's say, to answer a question that you don't know, you know, let's say you're at a crossroads in your life, or you don't know whether to take a job or not, or to go and live here or over there. what you can do is, instead of using your analytical fear-based head brain to work out the problem, although obviously that's necessary to some extent, you would hold that intention and you would walk. And what would happen is that because you're aligned to a higher level of reality, to a higher wisdom, you receive the information. It's a revelatory tool. And then you know what to do. Because lots of people say, oh, make a decision from the heart. But we often we don't know if we're in the heart or not. We get really like confused about everything that's going on. But when you're physically walking the 8, you just drop out of the head. So then you're in the body and you're in the heart. And the thing with the body is the body never lies and the heart never lies, but your head lies all the time. Almost everything that your head tells you is a lie, you know, to some extent, just to keep you alive. It will say and do anything to keep you in survival mode. You know, life's a competition. You must fight your way through this, always be on your guard. You know, it's always thinking along those lines, whereas your heart knows the answers. So what you're really doing is you're using the revelatory tool to tap into your deep intuition. And we all know that often when we follow our intuition, it feels uncomfortable. We don't know what's going to happen because we're in the unknown. But generally, we follow it and we look back and we go, oh, thank God I did that, because now this has happened. So you can use this tool, this walking the 8, to answer any question. That's one of the first things. And any question. So anything that might be going on in your life. I've had people use this tool to clean and activate their energy centers. And that's because this figure of 8 is the symbol and the frequency of thermodynamic free energy. It's an infinite energy source that comes from the quantum field. And I studied the work of a physicist called Dr. William Tiller, who really went into this. But now we're seeing more and more people talking about scalar wave technology. It's an infinite energy source, and we've been very much working on finite energy sources. But you can clean and clear your energy centers just by walking and focusing on this intention. And the energy will just do it instinctively because it's a perfect form of healing. It's just perfection. So you could walk it through your energy centers as you're doing a walk. So that's another really good thing you could do it for. I wrote down some other examples. So brilliant. Walking to forgive someone or to see their perspective. Now, when you drop out of your head and you connect to an expanded level of consciousness, source consciousness, infinity, you will start to see things from many perspectives. And so if you're having a problem with someone who's really hurt you and you walk to have it revealed to you how you can forgive them, you will receive information from all of the perspectives that actually you've been limiting yourself with because you were coming from your fight or flight mechanism normally. So that's something that we use a lot. And in fact, I have a course on my website and it's called The Mother Wound. And I've taught this to hundreds of people. I've done this course with hundreds of people now. And it's obviously to heal the wounds of your parents, you know, that they passed on, that we pass on through all the generations. But one of the practices in there was, I created this course because I wanted to hand on good things to my children. And one of the practices I created in there was I used the walk to meet my mother at different ages. So I met my mother, I can't remember how it went, at something like 7, at 12, at 18, at 24. I met her when she was pregnant with me, you know. And because this takes you out of linear space and time, because obviously remember linear space and time is a flat line. So it takes you out of linear space and time. I walked back to meet my mum at all of these ages, and it was just the most extraordinary thing. Because when I finished that walk, I saw my mum as a whole human being. I could understand where she'd come from, what she'd experienced, how she got to where she was, why she parented me the way she did. She's a wonderful woman, by the way. But it really it healed a lot of stuff that I hadn't understood. And I've had literally hundreds of people telling me that they've had the same experiences. And then I've done a course where you do it with your fathers as well. And you suddenly see your parent as a whole human being, not just as your mum or dad, with all the expectations and limitations that you have with that. So I walk back in time to do that, and that's incredibly healing. And what happens is you see real world results. Like immediately, my whole relationship with my mother changed. And I've had people saying to me, not only did their relationship with their mother change, but suddenly the relationship with their children or their brothers or even their fathers changed if they hadn't done the father one, because they suddenly, everything came into equilibrium. Pam, you've just frozen.
That's okay. I'm still here.
Oh, you can hear me.
Yep.
Suddenly everything came into equilibrium, and obviously the people in your family can feel that you've come into equilibrium, and they respond accordingly.
Changes the dynamics of everything.
Exactly. Yep. And what you do in this moment actually affects your past. Yeah. Because linear time is a construct that humans have created to measure things. In actuality, everything is in the present.
Yeah.
Your entire past is in the present, your entire future is in the present. It's just we normally act from our past. So when you review and have revelation about the past, it changes everything in the present moving forwards. So it's that miraculous, and I think you've been experiencing that. So that's another tool.
Do you want me to share the image that you sent me at this point, Sarita? Or a little bit?
I'll just, do you want a couple more examples about how to use this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you a couple more, and then you do the picture with the demo, and then I can explain that as well. So another example that this is really good for is to balance the masculine and the feminine within. So obviously we've all got our masculine and feminine principles, and obviously they've been very out of whack with patriarchy. Yeah. What it's done is what I see is it's caused us to, if you like, almost attack one another and attack aspects of ourselves and cause incoherence and a physical disease, actually, as your masculine and your feminine kind of battle within your body. You need this kind of equilibrium. So another example is I did a ceremony once, and it was called Unraveling the Great Mistrust. And I got people to walk to meet, firstly, 8 men who'd betrayed them. And as they were walking, to see how they'd had a preconception that they would be betrayed each time was fascinating. And then we did it with the women. So 8 women who'd broken your trust, and how you'd, if you like, set that up with your pre-expectation. And then at the end, having met those men or women, we turned to face the other way and walked backwards through time, unraveling the pattern of the mistrust. And then at the end, we arrived at the knot of the 8 and stepped through the portal in coherence. With all that patterning that creates our lives, you know, that we repeat again and again, so we learn our lessons, all of that unraveled. And I think that's a really important piece. I know your friend Heather often talks about this. Yeah. If we don't unravel the masculine and the feminine, there's nowhere to go. We've got to do this in wholeness, really. So that's a fantastic tool, because the infinity is literally the architecture of a balanced masculine and feminine. So that's a great tool to use it for. And another, so you can use it as a healing tool. Obviously, you could walk to see and heal something, which will we can talk about in a moment, because you and I have done something special for your followers. And and you have healing because it's perfect healing symbol. So it will heal anything that you place the symbol inside of, and you're placing it literally in your body because you're walking yourself through that symbol. And then another amazing tool for this is to walk to manifest something. So I did this with people at New Year, and we walk to manifest our year ahead. So as you know, and I don't know if your viewers know, you have an electromagnetic field around your body, don't you? Which is like a torus.
Yeah.
Now that torus contains all the electromagnetic and information and geometry of your reality, let's say. It's an extension of your body. And what we did was we walked all of our hopes and dreams, but we were physically living them as well. So we weren't just in gratitude that they were happening. We were actually, if you like, miming them. And what that was doing was it was entraining the biofield and informing source consciousness with the 8 to pull towards the biofield or our reality, the energetic architecture or the geometric formation of what would create what you wanted, whether it was, you know, a new house or the job or the relationship or whatever it was you needed. So it was an embodied walking manifestation, and that was really quick. Loads of those things happened. I think I did 8 things. In fact, I think we all did 8 things, and 4 of them came true like within a month.
Wow.
You know, it's fast. So that's the type of thing that you can use the walking the 8 practice to do.
Beautiful. So you always have to set a very clear intention.
Yes.
For what you are using the walk for, and then do you want to give us a
yeah? So now I'm going to give you the demo. So the only, if you like, complicated thing with this is you need to learn how to set up the architecture to begin the walk. Okay. After that, it's not complicated at all. And this is where I need you to show the picture that I gave you.
Okay.
So Pam's going to put this picture up.
Can you see that?
Okay, so I can see it. So yep. I'm assuming everyone else can as well. Yep. So basically, we all have this energetic architecture, all of us, whether you can see and feel it or not, it's there. And each of us are connected to the sun and to the earth. And in fact, what you're seeing in the middle of the earth there is a crystal, which I call the Earth Star, and I call the sun the stellar star. And so as human beings that are both earthling and stellar beings, we're connected to both all of the time. And we're connected by these 2 threads of light that run right through our central core, which goes through the middle of the torus. And it informs our reality. And remember that core also runs through all of your energy centers. And the energy centers are the energetic brains that tell your cells and organs and systems how to behave. So when we start the walk, so the 8 is not part, the big 8 you can see with the 2 rocks is not part of your energetic architecture. That's just there so you can see. But basically what you do when you begin your walk is you place the 2 rocks that you can see either side of you about 1 meter apart. And you stand at the knot of the 8 between the 2 rocks. You then place your hands, I'll give you a physical demo in a moment, but in a slightly uncomfortable position, which tells your body you're about to go on a sacred walk, not walking the dog. Okay, not that not walking the dog isn't sacred, but anyway. So it's like muscle memory. So you place your hands in a slightly uncomfortable position, and then you visualize or you imagine or you feel depending how tuned in you are, that you have this connection to the earth and stellar stars. And it's important that you set this up because the walk can literally take you out of 3D, because it takes you into other dimensions. Because every time you walk through the knot, you're moving through a 0-point portal, basically. So it can take you out. So it's important to visualize that line so that you're tethered to the earth and the sun. It's like a safety tether, if you like. So that's the energetic architecture that you set up. You then set your intention for the walk, and you hold the intention all the way through the walk, and then you come back to the knot at the end, and you just allow all of the information that you've collated to kind of land in your body. So do you want to take that?
Yep.
Take that down again now. Okay, I'm now going to give you a physical demo. I'm just going to move my chair. So you've set yourself up. You put 2 rocks on the floor here. I'm just going to move the camera so that I've already set my 2 rocks up there. I use really big rocks so people can see them. Yep. They don't need to be that big. So you've got your 2 rocks here on the floor, and you stand between them at the knot. Yep. Place your hands in a slightly uncomfortable position. That's mine, but you could do anything. And you only do this to begin with.
Okay, so it's thumb and middle finger touching.
It doesn't need to be. It can be that. It can be this. It can be anything that isn't normal, if you like. And it's just for a few seconds. It just tells your body what you're about to do.
Yep.
So you're standing at the knot. You've got your hands in a slightly uncomfortable position. And then you visualize yourself connecting to the earth and stellar stars. You set your intention for the walk, and then you walk, holding the intention the whole time. So you're walking literally between the 2 rocks like this.
Yep.
And the idea is that you begin to follow the physical impulses of your body, so that your body starts to respond and create new geometry in your biofield in alignment with the 8 and your intention. So it doesn't need to make sense, and normally it won't make sense because intuition doesn't always make sense. Okay, so you're walking, so you may find you want to start clapping or skipping, or you might start walking backwards, or you find that you feel like your arms are moving, or you're tapping your body, or you want to kneel, and you're doing all this stuff as you're walking. Some people just walk and they're in a very deep meditative state. I'm coming back so some people are literally just walk, but if you get physical impulses, it's important to follow them because they're repatterning you. And if you want, you can play music. I often add music to my walks because I especially use Hertz brainwave music.
Yeah.
And also the 8 is putting you in a theta or alpha brainwave state. That's the other thing it does. So it really drops you out of the high beta brainwaves that are aligned to survival. And so you walk and you just give yourself a pre-delineated amount of time that you can walk, and then you come back to the knot, and that's the end. And you'll receive revelation, and things will literally change in your reality instantaneously. I don't know what to say. It can be instantaneous. It often is instantaneous.
Wow, beautiful. That is so exciting. And I think you've underneath the video that we have here, I think you've recorded a special one for the viewers about unblocking any potential obstacle to your highest potential.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously for the viewers, just so you know, when I reached out to Pam, because it was the new moon, Pam decided she wanted to do a special offering for all of you. So I asked her, what would you like to do? And she said, let's do a walk to see, that's the revelation, and then heal
Yeah.
any blocks to your highest potential.
Yeah.
So that was Pam's idea. So what I did was I created a walking meditation with music, which we'll put a link to underneath here.
Beautiful.
And then I also made a 3-minute demo, just in case I've said that all too fast for you. So you can watch the demo, how to do the walk, and then you can actually do the 20-minute offering, which is all for free, obviously. So if you just click on the link, you can go and do this on the new moon.
Wonderful. You had perfect time, set a clear intention, and off you go. This
Absolutely.
is very exciting because, you know, I understand the science of what you're saying as well, because I'm always drawn to find the scientific explanation of anything metaphysical. And it feels so exciting. I'm going to do this straight after this, this conversation with you, actually. So this is a very good day. So yeah, this is super exciting. So, you know, and thank you so much for sharing this knowledge so freely, Sarita, because on this channel, as you know, I always like to share information for free, rather than promote products.
Well,
So
I mean, this is the beauty of it. It is for free, and we've all got access to it. And once you've done the walk once with one thing, you can do it with anything.
yeah, you know.
And I really just do feel we need practical tools now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because we need to feel this in our bodies. I think that's the key thing. We've had, you know, so much intellectualization. We've been very encouraged in our lifetimes to be in the head, in the mind, the information age, etc. But the whole process of this evolution, as I understand it, is feeling it in the body, doing it in
Absolutely.
reality. So that's why this practice is so incredibly helpful. So
Yeah, and also we're moving into into the whole point is we're moving from the mental body, if you like, into the emotional body, so that we can access our heart center.
Yeah.
And this is the representation of that heart center.
Beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. Beautiful. This is so exciting. So before we move on to the heart meditation, Sarita, is there anything else you want to share about the walk itself?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I feel like I've been talking loads.
So I know that, and I mentioned this to Heather Ensworth because she's a shaman too, of course, that bees dance in a shape of 8, a figure of 8. I'm sure you know that too. It's something
Yeah.
called bee shamanism.
Yeah.
Quite sure, you know, how the bees practice shamanism, but anyway, they also dance in a figure of 8, apparently.
There's a lot of movement in the figure 8, isn't it? What did I see? Is it the sun? Is it the sun and the moon that move around in a figure of 8? I'm just trying to remember a picture that I saw. There's a lot of stuff in nature that moves in figures of 8.
I'm sure there is. You know, it's part of well, there's the double vortex, isn't there, that the heart produces as well. It's this counterclockwise swirling, you know, blood that's not being pumped by the heart. It's actually it's the blood itself that creates the heart movement.
Yeah.
That's in a sort of counterclockwise, you know, they're spinning in different directions through the different areas of the heart. So there's something that's very fundamental in this for us to understand, but making the practice very simple.
Yeah, and also it's a self-perpetuating momentum.
Yes.
So once you start working with something like this, you'll find that more and more easily you're incorporating this infinity momentum into your life, and things will just come to you. We're designed to have abundance and everything we want. We're limiting ourselves with all this kind of linear structures. And that's why so much of nature actually works in a figure of 8 or works with these beautiful spiral formations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, let's move on now to the Tibetan heart meditation, if you're happy to do that. And that will last about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just explain what it is first. So Tibetan heart is basically heart coherence meditation. And it came out of Tibet. And when I heard about it, I added the 8. Of course. So essentially, originally, it was breathing into the heart. And I don't know if your viewers know this, but the minute you start to breathe into your heart center, what happens is that all the systems in your body start to self-regulate. They all come into alignment. So if your blood pressure is too high, it comes down. If you've got too little thyroxine, it goes up. Your hormones balance. It's like crazy what happens if you breathe into the heart.
So this is heart coherence.
This is heart coherence with a twist that I added. So I'd heard about this heart breathing, and I was very much into the 8. And what I did was I added infinity into it. So the idea is you drop your awareness into the heart center as you would if you're about to breathe into the heart. But instead of just breathing into the heart, you breathe. You imagine that the breath is moving in a figure of 8 through the heart center. Okay.
Horizontally, as it were, across the
well, it doesn't really, people see it and feel it in different ways. Mine is kind of horizontal like this.
Yep.
And so the knot or the portal of the 8 is in the middle of your heart center.
Yep.
And that aligns you to the heart center of the universe. So again, and it takes you out of your head. And the Heart Math Institute already know that there are more neurites in your heart organ than there are in your brain.
Yeah, I think 40,000 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. So your heart is a bigger brain than your brain. And your heart center controls your heart. Your heart center is the energetic brain of your heart. So I've got some amazing stories with this. So when people breathe through their heart centers, what happens is it's a natural healing tool. And one of the first people that I ever taught this to, she was a friend of mine called Julie, and her parents had both died within a month of each other. And she was really stuck in grief. And she's normally the brightest, most jolly person you've ever met. And she couldn't get out of her grief. And she came to me and I taught her this. And when she started to do this, you also work with gratitude. I'll explain that piece in a minute. But when she started to do this, she felt like she was having a heart attack. So what happened was the visualizing the breath moving through was bringing her into the feeling she'd been holding in her heart center. And it was physically hurting her. Yeah. I was sitting with her while she was doing it, and she's like, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. And I'm like, you're not. Keep breathing. And she did it twice a day, let's say for 3 minutes, twice a day. And suddenly, after 2 weeks, it cleared it because it's a healing tool. And then suddenly the grief was gone. She'd felt all the grief there was. And she could suddenly put the whole thing, obviously you're always going to miss your parents and feel sad, but she put the whole thing in its perspective and she could be herself again. Yeah. And there's another amazing story. I just had a woman that came on retreat a few weeks ago, and she's 84 years old. Her name's Mariette. And she was one of the first people that ever called me. And about 5 years ago, she was rushed to hospital. Her heart had just gone so out of whack that they basically was just gone completely erratic. She was rushed to hospital. The surgeon and the doctor were there, and he was like, I've got to put you on these heavy meds and do these procedures and everything. And she was like, I don't want to do them. And he was like, you have no choice. This is really dangerous. And she said, just give me 20 minutes. She just discovered me. And she got her husband to give her the Tibetan Heart, which is on my YouTube channel. And she did the Tibetan Heart for 20 minutes. And then the heart doctor came back and she was completely fine. Her whole heart had regulated in 20 minutes. And he was absolutely baffled, and he had no choice but to let her go home. There was nothing wrong with her. And so I got this call 5 years ago telling me about this. And I keep hearing, I hear stories like this all of the time, because you're putting source consciousness, the creator, in your own heart center, and then saying, do with me what you will. And of course, the creator is always going to align you to divinity. Yeah. So it's an amazing tool. So I'll explain to you how the meditation is going to go, and then we'll do it.
Okay.
Have we got enough time?
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Just about. Okay. So I'm going to drop you into your heart center, and then you're going to visualize that you're breathing through the heart. Okay. Don't worry if this is difficult to begin with. We're going to do that for a few moments, getting your rhythm going. And then we are going to call upon the frequency of gratitude to rise up in your body. Now, you can use any frequency, but mostly I use gratitude. And so you're going to call this frequency to rise up in your body. And if you have a problem feeling gratitude, my advice to you, and I'll guide you in this, is to smile. It'll just bring it up. Or to visualize a flower or something simple in your heart center. And once you've got the feeling of gratitude, what you do is you attach that frequency to the loops of the 8. So you're now breathing in a figure of 8, gratitude through your heart center. And you do that for 3 minutes, and that's the meditation.
Beautiful.
And it's life-changing. And after a time, you can practice doing this with your eyes open while you're talking to people. And that is when your life becomes a living meditation of the heart.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Should we do it then?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
Okay. So I invite you all to take a breath in, take a breath out, let go of all of the stale air in your body, and close your eyes. And just allow yourself now to let go of all of the words and the conversation. Allow yourself to land with your breath in this moment. And just follow your breath with your attention as it weaves into your body and weaves out of your body. Feel yourself relaxing more and more and becoming more and more centered. And you are now going to drop your awareness down into your heart center in the middle of your chest. So if you like, you could imagine that your eyeballs are dropping down and down. Down and down your head, through your neck, and landing in the middle of your chest. And just feel your heart center for a moment. Notice if it has color or texture, how it feels in here. And what you're going to do now is you're going to slow the breath down a little, breathing through your nose. And you're going to imagine that your breath is flowing through the heart center in a figure of 8. 1 loop in front, 1 loop behind, with a knot of the 8, 0 point, in the middle of your heart center. Using all of your breath, all of your willpower, all of your imagination to breathe infinity through the heart center. And keeping the breath flowing in this figure of 8, you are now going to call upon the frequency or the sensation of gratitude to rise up in your body and fill you. And if you find this difficult, then smile or visualize something sweet and natural like a flower inside your heart center. So you're allowing this gratitude to rise up in you, the felt sensation of gratitude. And when you can really feel the gratitude, you are now going to attach the gratitude to the breath and breathe gratitude in a figure of 8 through the heart center for 3 minutes. Off you go. And see if you can turn the volume up on the gratitude even more. And perhaps you can expand the 8, making those loops even larger. Feeling it more and more. And now pausing and just feel your state of being and how your heart center feels. Aligned to source consciousness, creator consciousness. And then when you're ready, coming back and opening your eyes.
That was beautiful. I felt a lot of energy moving around there.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Really beautiful. So there's another link for that Tibetan heart meditation beneath this video as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So those links will take you to my website, and in fact, there's another walk on the website as well, which you can do, which is to unravel the great mistrust. That walk as well is free for you. So, but yes, Pam, thank you so much for letting me share this information with your followers. I really feel like it's life-changing, practical tools. So I
Well,
hope
I'm really thrilled, Sarita, you know, with all your shamanic experience and knowledge, because with Pluto in Aquarius, Aquarian energy is all about information. It's networks, it's sharing, it's, you know, it's this kind of sense of collaboration and doing things that are for the highest good of all. I always set that intention before every video, every conversation like this. This is for my highest good, Sarita's highest good, the highest good of all. And this truly is. That's really delivered, I think, today. So God bless you. Yeah, it's been wonderful. And I can really feel the kind of power that that has and how profound those practices are.
and they just get big, more and more profound. So thank you, Pam, and bless you as always for all the work that you do. And it was a real honor to be here. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much, Sarita. And I know there'll be a lot of interest in this. So yeah, and you've shared so freely and from the heart today. So thank you for all that you're doing in the world.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Sending love to you all out there. Bye for now.